Welcome back everybody to another episode of the GC Informer. I am Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula. Today, bringing you two tiny little stories, and then I'll get into one sort of big story. And oh boy, it's a good one. We'll start though, however, with a funny little thing about why Mario Kart is currently trending on Twitter. This won't take up a lot of time, I just thought it was fucking hilarious. For those of you who don't keep up with politics, you may or may not be aware of a porn star called Stormy Daniels who allegedly had an affair with the president, and I believe is currently suing him for, I think it's libel. And she decided to say in an interview that Donald Trump's penis was very much like the Mushroom Man from Mario Kart, referring to Toad. And as a result, Mario Kart is trending worldwide on Twitter. Just, you know, that's it. That's the story. I just thought it was fucking hilarious. So let's move on. Lego now. We're going to move on to Lego, and it's a cross between Lego and Labo, because a rather amazing person who I believe works for Lego in New Zealand has made a load of different Nintendo Labo compatible tools out of Lego. So instead of using cardboard, this person has used various bits of Lego. A lot of it's to do with the Technic kinds of Lego. I'm probably putting it up on screen at the moment, but you can watch the full video in the description. There's a load of bits of Technic Lego and whatever to make it work with Labo. A particular favourite of mine is the handlebars that work with Mario Kart. They look spectacular and they look like they work spectacular, and might be a little bit more reliable than cardboard when it comes to staying together. Anyway, that's that. Go watch the video. It's really good. And the big story. It's a good one. So at the weekend, Sarah mentioned the fact that Finland have announced they're investigating loot boxes in several games, predominantly Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and it seems that combined between that and Belgium declaring a lot of loot boxes illegal, 15 separate gambling authorities have launched their own investigations into this, which is... That's a lot of them. So let's read off the countries we have in contention for this. Austria, the Czech Republic, France, Gibraltar, Ireland, the Isle of Man, weirdly, Jersey, Latvia, Malta, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Spain, Washington State, and the UK. And that's a lot of gambling regulators there focusing on loot boxes, which I very much suspect the game industry would rather they didn't. Now, the government in the UK had previously stated that they didn't think that loot boxes were gambling or even worth looking at, really, to be honest. But the gambling regulator in this country obviously disagrees. This is actually the person involved in this mainly is Neil MacArthur, the CEO of the UK Gambling Commission, who had this to say. Unlicensed websites offering skins betting can pop up at any time, and children could be gambling with money intended for computer game products. We encourage video game companies to work with gambling regulators and take action now to address those concerns and make sure consumers, and particularly children, are protected. It's a line that's brought out very often, think of the children, but in this instance it does make a certain amount of sense because, you know, actual gambling, like things that are currently labelled as gambling, are not things that children are allowed to take part in. So, like casinos in the UK, you're not even allowed to go in one unless you're over 18. It's 21 in most states in America. And, you know, while it might be a bit difficult to kind of police this kind of thing, it would be interesting to see where it goes. And to be honest, with 15 more countries, that brings us to a total of at least 17. In fact, in Australia, a major study came out not too long ago, actually a couple of days ago, stating that loot boxes were akin to gambling in terms of the sort of reward system and how it is perceived by people who could be potentially problem gamblers. So it's not looking good for loot boxes, not looking good for that little gravy train the AAA industry had going on, but very, very promising news for the consumer, and I hope something is going to be done. That brings us then to the end of this episode of the GC Informer, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe or share, ring the bell, whatever you fancy. And our social links are down in the description with a link to our Discord where you can join in some chat with members of our community. And stay tuned to GameCast though for news, reviews, Let's Plays, podcasts, lots of great content, and I will see you soon for something else.